What did you say to Urban Meyer about the 2015 incident?
I told him when he asked me he asked me what the hell's going on. I told him, I said, Courtney's accusing me that I committed domestic violence. I didn't. I don't know what's going on, but I'm meeting with I'm going to go down and meet with the investigator and find out what the deal is. And after that, I told him, I said, they have some pictures of her. Anything that happened to her body was all just defensive movements to remove myself from the situation. And I said, and that's it. And I'm not gonna get charged because I didn't do anything wrong.
How did he respond to that?
He looked at me and said, I swear to God, Zach, if I find out you hit her, you're done. You're fired. And I said, okay, I understand, Coach. I didn't. I'm fine.
And you told him there were some pictures where she was bruised?
I didn't say that. I said, anything that happened to her, I told the police, anything that happened to her body was a defensive action to remove myself from the situation. I didn't tell him there was pictures or anything like that. I just told him that anything that ever happened to her was never offensive, never aggressive.
And after you talked to the police, what conversation did you have with Urban?
I just confirmed what went on in the meeting with the detective and how we went through everything they have, and I told him my side of the story, and it seemed to go really well, and that I was going to have my attorney, Dennis, follow up, and he followed up several times, and the Powell police, the detectives just said, yeah, I don't think there's anything here, so I don't think we're going to move forward.
What did Urban say about that?
I didn't really talk to him about it after that. I mean, I told him that the police weren't moving forward with it, and because there's nothing there, I didn't do anything. And he was like, okay, well, if I find out otherwise, you're done. You're fired.
Urban Meyer has a reputation for knowing every detail about everything that's going on in his program. You said you told him what he needed to know. Did he not need to know those minute details?
Not in my opinion. And that's just kind of how I live my life. I'm not out here in the public trying to put my personal life out there to people at work or anything. I mean, I believed that personal matters and marital matters need to remain personal and between a husband and wife. That's what I believed. And so I believe I told him what he needed to know and nothing more.
Should Urban Meyer have looked further into that matter at that point?
No, he's not an investigator. He's not a cop. He's not a detective. I think he found out the facts he needed to find out as the head coach of Ohio State and as my direct boss, and he needed to make decisions based on those facts. I don't think it was his job to investigate, to ask questions, to talk to her. He only had to talk to me to make sure, because he already got the other side of the story from the incident report, and so he wanted to know what really happened from me, and then he let the police do their job. You can't have a football coach doing investigating when there's investigators that do investigating.
When Urban Meyer would check in on you in your relationship while that type of thing was going on, what would you tell him?
Yeah, I wouldn't tell him anything because I believe this is a private matter between two people in a marriage, and that's where it should stay. Unless a crime occurred, then everybody needs to know. So I'm not out here. I wasn't trying to even come to the media. I wasn't trying to do an interview because this is not anyone's business but mine, my wife's, and my kids. And this is getting blasted across in front of all my kids. My kids are going to see this, hear about it at school, and it's sad when you know the reality of the situation, because this is not a domestic violence case. And so I didn't tell Urban about any of it because it was between her and I, and we were still trying to work on our marriage, even though it was on a crash course. We were still trying to get right, and it just never happened.
He's the leader of the flagship program here at Ohio State University. He could have had somebody look into that if he needed to look into it further. Why do you think he didn't do that?
Well, I mean, I think the information initially came from Gene Smith, the athletic director. And I think one of the things Urban always does is he's a good employee. He's going to let the higher-ups do what they have to do. And he's going to form his own opinions and find out his own stuff. But I think in his mind, it was already being investigated by police, and administration knew that there was an investigation. So what is he to do?
What information came from Gene Smith?
The fact that this felonious domestic assault accusation occurred. That's how I found out about it. Was Gene Smith called me, and So I don't know what else Urban Meyer could have done, and I don't know what else anyone could have done. It was the police knew about it.
Could they have called Courtney or other people and tried to follow up?
That's not their job. Their job is not to call someone that's accusing another person of something. Why would they ever get involved in that? No, absolutely not. You let the police already know. Now, if the police didn't know, it's their job to probably contact the authorities. But the police knew. That's who told them.
Is it his job as a leader and as someone who has a very strong stance on violence against women to make sure with 100% certainty that no one on his staff has done that?
I mean, I think he believed that was true. I think it was true. I mean, yeah, absolutely. To make sure that he doesn't have anyone that has committed domestic violence on his staff. I think he did that, does that, has always done that. I don't know. There's no example where he has.
What would you think if Urban Meyer does lose his job because of this?
Well, I mean, I'd be heartbroken for Ohio State, for the players, for him and his family, because it's not right. It's not. If that happens, it's dead wrong. Coming from somebody who knows. I was in all the meetings. I know exactly what he knew. I know exactly what he did. If he loses his job, it's flat wrong. And this is the guy who fired me. It would be a crime. Listen, we had a toxic relationship, a volatile relationship. It was not a good relationship. I probably should have never married her. I loved her. I still love her. We definitely needed to split up. We needed to get a divorce. There was aggression in the relationship, but anything I ever did to her was a defensive action. And it was simply to restrain her or remove myself from the situation, which I did probably 8 times in our marriage, where I would try to calm it down, try to get it to not be an aggressive situation, and I would go to my car and drive to work and sleep at work. Just get out of the situation. I did it probably 8 times.
How did you go about restraining her?
I don't know how to explain it. I would just put my hands up to try to stop anything that was going on, to hold her or move her out of the way so that I could go through a doorway or whatever. That depends on the situation.
How would just kind of putting your hands up create those types of bruises?
Well, I mean, I guess you'd have to be there. If someone's being aggressive with you and you're trying to defend your actions with that person, and you try to grab their arms just to stop the aggression and get them out of the way for you to get through a doorway, to get out of the situation, and it's very possible. I don't know what else to tell you. All I know is I've never hit my wife. I've never hit her. I've never beat her. Nothing. Now, we had a toxic relationship, and I am at fault as much as she is in everything, because I did the things I shouldn't have done. I was not a good husband. I wasn't great in this, but I never committed domestic violence, and I never hit her.
There was a photo too where her hand was bleeding.
Yep.
Did that happen because of you?
I don't know if you'd say it's because of me. She was in a fit about I don't know what. She grabbed a can of tobacco that I had, and she went to pour it on me. And when I put my hand up to stop her from pouring it on me, I closed the can, and it sliced her hand. And anybody that has ever seen a can of tobacco, those metal cans are sharp. It was nothing. It was. I was actually asleep when she came to do this, and kind of woke up and just grabbed the can of dip to try to not have it happen. And here we are.
What was your reaction when she saw you had injured her?
I freaked out, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I helped her. We went and I helped her wash it off and get Band-Aids. I was terrified because I was like, "Oh my God, I just cut you. I didn't mean to do that."
Do you think the instances where bruises showed up on her body and she was bleeding, did you do something wrong in those cases?
I think I did. Absolutely, I did something wrong every time. I pushed her buttons a lot. I knew how to get her going, and like I said, it was a toxic relationship. Both of us did several wrong things. All I'm trying to put out is that there was never an illegal act or violence, domestic violence on my behalf. Now, I did so many things wrong, and I caused a lot of those situations, but that's 2 separate discussions.